G'day Sean, welcome back to YouTube. We all missed you, and we're excited to see how this pans out. You made your first video and another follow-up video to that responding to comments, and I just decided that I would make my own little rebuttal to that. You make the claim that those that commit to scientism, as it were, believe that science is the only means of deriving truth. I would suggest that philosophy, to an extent, can come at some degree of truth. But the thing about science is science is only about probability making. No one in science ever believed that you could get a 100% certainty, even on evolution, which is extremely well-founded. It is one of the most well-founded aspects of science, but even that, there's not many people that would go out there and say it is 100% definitely proven. It just doesn't really apply. So all we're really talking about is probability. Now, I am of the persuasion that science is the only guaranteed method of being able to draw good probability statements about things that happened in the past and things that will happen in the future and things the way they are now. Predictability. I believe that science is definitely the best way of making any kind of predictions about the world. Philosophy has some measure, some place in that regard, but when you think about philosophy, it's doing the same thing as science. It's just without actually going out and doing the experiment. It's just observing the evidence as you see it and deriving logical conclusions. So when you make the statement that science cannot demonstrate a qualitative aspect, a qualitative characteristic of something, I would have to disagree, so long as within the umbrella of science we include that philosophical method of truth derision by logical pursuit. So when you show the picture of your flower and you say, I painted this flower, I gave it some meaning, and there is no method by which you can actually determine the meaning by doing science on the painting, I would have to disagree. You asked the question in your follow-up video, how many people just accept what I said, and how many people are reserving judgment and waiting to do scientific tests? You said the people in the second group would be a very small group, and I would tend to agree, but the point is, even the people that do accept your claim, they're doing it by assessing the available evidence. They are not accepting your claim as an act of faith. They're not hearing what you're saying and saying, I believe you, Sean. I believe in my heart that what you're saying is true. As an act of faith, I believe you. No, that's not what they're doing. They're looking at this fairly unextraordinary claim. They're looking at the available evidence. Okay, you don't really have much of an incentive to lie about this, because even if in this case it's not true, you could just as easily find another case. I mean, you could draw a stick man and then make the same point. So there's no need to lie about this. So there's no motive to lie. We know for a fact that people do this. We know that people do create art and imbue meaning behind it. And that's pretty much all we need to know. All the available evidence is there to suggest that we can confidently accept your claim. Now that is, in a sense, as long as we're including the philosophical method of logical pursuit, it is science. It's observing the evidence and drawing a conclusion. Now, what you're asking us to do with the Bible is actually a completely different scenario. If you want to say to us that evidence cannot be applied to that, then what you're saying is you're asking us to make a leap of faith regarding this without having that same probability check that we have with your flower. You're asking us to look at the Bible and not think about the probability that someone could be lying, not think about what motives they might have for deceiving us, not think about the possibility for mistakes, and not think about the fact that it's a really, really extraordinary claim. It's not something that we encounter every day. We don't see creation every day. People don't do that sort of thing every day. It's a really extraordinary claim. So you're asking us to ignore all those things and then make the leap of faith. So if you want to start persuading people of my persuasion that the qualitative value of the universe as a created object has a specific meaning behind it and has a God creator behind it, then you're going to need to provide evidence. You're going to need to provide a scientific pursuit, a logical following for us to accept the claim. Because we're not going to accept it as a matter of faith, because we don't agree that faith is a useful method of truth derision. So there's two things you can do. One, you can try and get me to believe something as a matter of faith, or you can try and get me to believe in Christianity as a matter of evidence. You haven't actually done anything to get me to believe something as a matter of faith. And that's with the flower. You have presented a claim. The evidence has been available for me to see, as much evidence as I need given the unextraordinariness of the claim, and I made a probability statement saying, okay, he's probably telling the truth. It's not an act of faith. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. And I know that in your comments video, you said you are going to get onward into providing evidence for why we should think that the Bible is true, and I doubt that you're going to have anything convincing, because I've seen quite a lot, but my mind's open, you know. I'm prepared to hear something that's going to change my mind, but in the meantime, you still haven't actually made your first point. Not until you get me to accept something as a matter of faith, rather than as a matter of assessing the probability given the available evidence. And, yeah. Peace.